Breaking news, the New York Times reporting that Republicans plan to vote tonight on whether to remove Congressman Steve King from the House Judiciary Committee and other committees. King's silent tonight. Walking out, asked, completely silent, staring ahead as the House prepares to vote a disapproval resolution for him. After he told the New York Times, quote, "White nationalist, white supremacist, Western civilization. How did that language become offensive? Why did I sit in classes teaching me about the merits of our history and our civilization?" Sinister use of the word our. And Senator Mitt Romney telling our Manu Raju tonight this.
I think he had to step aside, and I think Congress had to make it very clear he has no place there.
Out front now, the chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Democratic Congresswoman Karen Bass. And Congresswoman, the latest news this hour, Democratic aide telling the Washington Post that there's a plan to vote tomorrow on a disapproval resolution against Steve King, which is what happened with Joe Wilson when he yelled "You lie" at President Obama's State of the Union. Is that enough?
Well, you know, I do think it's a good thing that we do that, but I definitely do not think that it's enough. And I am grateful to hear that Senator Romney says that there's no place in the Republican Party for Steve King, and it's my hope that the Republican caucus actually kicks him out, that says that he cannot be a member of the Republican caucus, and in addition that they remove him from his committee assignments because the committees that he's on absolutely impact the people that he has been so negative about. You know, what Steve King said recently is just probably number 25 or 30 in Steve King's greatest hits. He's been making statements like this for years. I just think now, in this atmosphere, he feels completely emboldened, and I think that it is utterly unacceptable.
Now, President Trump is claiming complete ignorance of King's remarks, Congresswoman. Here he is today.
Who? I haven't been following it. I really haven't been following it.
Well, you know, Trump also didn't know David Duke. He didn't know about white supremacists. I mean, he always says that. He certainly knows about Steve King's reputation. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Steve King says is that he helped lead Trump down the road of supporting a wall. He has been
well, Trump has bragged about raising more money for Steve King than anyone else, which is a pretty big thing to brag about and not know what he's saying.
There you go. So he, of course, knows what Steve King has said. He knows who he is. He knows what he represents. And frankly, I think that part of Steve King being so emboldened now is because of the atmosphere that has been created by President Trump.
You know, you mentioned David Duke, and obviously Trump today saying he doesn't know the Steve King story, which obviously anybody who watches cable news or is on Twitter knows it, and nobody watches those two things more than this president. During the campaign, right, he was asked about David Duke, former leader of the KKK, who Trump has talked about in interviews for 25 years, in fact, calling him a racist. But he was asked about him in 2016 when David Duke supported him. Here's what Trump said.
Will you unequivocally condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists. So I don't know.
Would you just say unequivocally you condemn them and you don't want their support?
Well, I have to look at the group. I mean, I don't know what group you're talking about.
I don't know why anyone needs to look at the group. It's either a white supremacist or it's not. I think that Trump has been very consistent. He really doesn't care who it is that supports him, so long as they support him, whether they're racist, whether they're crazy, whatever, he is not going to disavow that. And I think that's unfortunate, and I think it has contributed to an atmosphere that leaves Steve King feeling that it's perfectly appropriate for him to say the things he does.
Congresswoman, before you go, when Mitt Romney directly said Steve King needs to resign, do you agree?
Yes, I absolutely agree.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Congresswoman Bass.